to meet you. Brilliantly playing two iconic primate roles, of course King Kong and now Caesar. What did you do to prepare yourself for that?
Well, you know, first of all, it was very, you know, those two roles are so sort of poles apart in terms of the primates that they are. When I was working on King Kong, unlike the original 1933 version, I wanted to make Kong much more gorilla-like. In the 1933 original, he was very much more like a monster because people's understanding of gorillas at the time was very limited. But in 2005, when we made Kong, it was important to you know, we're so familiar now with knowing how gorillas behave, and so I wanted to honour that.
You bring so much humanity to the role.
It's essentially about finding character and essentially about, you know, saying, well, look, okay, so I'm playing a gorilla, but gorillas are as diverse and as idiosyncratic and different as human beings are, and the same with chimpanzees, and especially in the case like Caesar, who is not only is he you know, an intelligent chimpanzee, but he also has an enhanced intelligence because he's the recipient of this drug test. So whereas Kong was like a lonely, very almost like an old out of condition boxer, you know. Caesar is like a very bright young child who has, you know, he's like a prodigy child, really.
Absolutely. Well, it was brilliant. You brought so much humanity to the roles. Thank you.
International Film Festival, Mr. Roger Durling.
Thank you. And welcome to one of the most exciting nights in the film festival. I've been looking forward to this evening for weeks. I need to thank our presenting sponsor, lynda.com, for making the whole festival possible. And tonight's Virtuoso Award is sponsored by Stella Artois. All of the performers tonight, Demian, Bichir, Patton, Oswalt, Shailene Woodley, Melissa McCarthy, Andy Serkis, and Rooney have made incredible music on their own. But tonight, all of them together, we're going to see a symphony. Please welcome our moderator for the evening, a great friend of the film festival. He's also the senior writer for Entertainment Weekly and the official Oscar greeter on the red carpet, Dave Carter.
Thank you, Roger, and thank you, everybody. It is an absolute pleasure to be back here helping with the Virtuosos panel for the second year, and I'm very excited that we've graduated to the Arlington Theater. This is perhaps the most beautiful theater I've ever seen in my life. Now, the 6 people that we're honoring tonight, some of them have been nominated for Critics' Choice Awards, some of them have been nominated for Golden Globes this year, some have been nominated for Screen Actors Guild Awards, some have been nominated for Oscars. But there's only one awards body that had the vision, intelligence, and foresight to honor all 6 of them, and that is the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, Virtuosos Award. So I congratulate Roger Durling and everybody involved with the festival for having the wisdom to honor them all.
Please welcome Andy Serkis.
What Patton said about the fraternity rush, I think it's actually kind of accurate. Now listen, a lot of people in this room know how you and the people at Weta, the special effects and visual effects house, put this together. But for people who don't, the character of Caesar is not just you in an ape suit, and it's not entirely made on a computer. It's a true performance, right? So can you explain to this audience what exactly you had on your body? Oh, with the mic, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one for people to understand. But what I'd say really is that performance capture as a technology is really what it sounds like. It's a technology. It's another way of recording an actor's performance. So when you see a scene like that, basically all the actors who are wearing costumes are in makeup are doing that and being recorded by a 35mm camera, and then the people who are playing apes are wearing suits and with markers on and facial markers on, and they're in a sense wearing digital makeup, and that's the way to think about it in this day and age of performance capture technology. So that all of the emotional content, the acting decisions, the way that you relate to your fellow actors, that's all authored on the set, and so there really isn't any difference between acting in a performance capture costume and a live action costume. And you know, I've played both. I've been on stage and I've been an actor for many years and used different mediums. But in terms of the process of getting into a character, it really begins and ends with the authorship on the set with the director and the other actors.
Did you ask to do the role of Caesar shirtless?
I did ask, but they said it would take too long to stick each individual marker onto my flesh.
Now, for people who don't know, you are also Gollum from and also the two upcoming Hobbit films, which you're in the process of, well, you've already shot your part, but now you're going back to shoot some second unit stuff.
That's right.
Did you ever think that you would be kind of the foremost mocap guy? Was this something you set out to do?
Yes, it was my mission in life. No, I actually didn't even intend to be an actor. I went to college to study graphics and painting and design. I was going to be an artist, and when I got to college, you had to do another subject in your first year, and so I chose theatre studies because I couldn't think of anything better. but actually I started designing sets and posters and so on, and then I did a play which completely changed my life. I found that this connection to this role that I was playing was so intense, the whole experience of doing it was so intense, I completely changed my direction and decided to become an actor. So I went on a very kind of normal trajectory, doing lots and lots of theatre for many years, 40 or 50 plays, and lots of European films and so on, and then met Peter Jackson. He put me in a load of dots, and 12 years later I'm still doing that.
I mean, you're also, we should make clear, a BAFTA-nominated actor for Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll, where you were not mocap, you were yourself, actually as a human being. Do you long for doing more of that? Are you happy kind of going back and forth between the motion capture and the non-motion capture?
I mean, no, as I say, I've never ever drawn any distinction between playing a performance capture role or a live action role. The acting, the getting into the embodying of a character, the psychologically kind of investigating the role, it's just no different whatsoever. And so I don't think, oh God, I'm missing out on normal acting. I mean, some of these characters are very extreme, but they nevertheless require, you're still relating to them, you're still finding, a set of emotions or you're acknowledging what that character is and how it thinks and feels and believes what the world is around them and so on. It's exactly the same thing, and so I don't miss it at all.
How on earth do you prepare to play an ape?
Well, I find it relatively easy, actually. For instance, playing a character like King Kong and playing a character like Caesar in Rise of the Apes, you think, oh well, they're two apes, they're just apes. But actually, as we all know, apes are 97% genetically the same as us, and it's like saying, well, how do you play a human being? They're all totally individual, totally idiosyncratic, and it always goes back to character and Kong, for instance, we decided, when we were working on the character, he was very much a lonely, sort of psychotic hobo, basically, who spends every day trying to survive until he connects with someone who actually changes his whole perception of life. And Caesar, as a character, is really, brought up in as a very happy young child who has a surrogate father. He's adored, he's doted on, and then at a certain point he reaches an age of self-awareness, and then his whole world goes into free fall, and then he's suddenly confronted with the fact that life isn't what it seemed, and he's thrown into what is in effect a hardcore prison with his kind, who he can't relate to. So it's all about it's all about finding the humanity in those situations to relate to. I mean, doing the physicality, the moves, that's a sort of level of preparation, of course, a physical preparation, but it's actually all about here. I mean, for instance, most of Caesar, really, where most of Caesar, his power as a character lies, is in the stillness. And performance capture, everybody thinks is all about thrashing around doing lots of movement, but actually it's about being able to contain and think and be believed in a close-up as much as anything else.
Obviously, it takes a long time for the people at Weta to construct the finished character after you've done your performance. Given that, were you ever given the opportunity during filming to see any partial rendering of what was going on, and how did that help you if you were able to see it?
When you start doing a role like this, or Kong, or Gollum, you obviously see a lot of conceptual artwork before you go in, so you have an idea. I knew what Caesar was going to look like when he was an infant, when he was a teenager, when he was an adult. I had those pictures in my head. And when you're rehearsing in a performance capture suit, you're actually able to use a system called real time, where you can look into a big screen. This is in the rehearsal in a different volume, not on the set. But you can see in real time. I can move, and as I start to move, I can see Caesar moving around. So you learn to calibrate your movements. You learn to gauge, how your behaviour is. And you can watch yourself as a rehearsal tool. You can sort of, in effect, see yourself in costume and makeup.
Obviously, what you're doing is serious business, and that's why it translates so well on the screen. But were there ever any moments or days on the set where you're in your apparatus, jumping around like an ape, and you're sitting with opposite James Franco, and you just thought to yourself, "This is ridiculous"?
Never. No. Yeah, of course there are moments. I mean, I think having done a lot of theatre, and you're used to sustaining characters over long periods of time. And the great thing about performance capture is that you can kind of, like if you're working in a volume. I mean, the difference between working on a live action set, like for Caesar, and then sometimes you're working in what's called a volume, and you work for like a film like Tintin, where you're creating a character, myself, Jamie Bell, for instance, and you're working. You can keep reworking scenes, and you don't have to go back to your trailer and wait for a lighting change or whatever. It's you're on the floor working all day long. So. I mean, there are moments where you just suddenly think to yourself, I wonder what life would have been like had I not done, gone down this road. But on the whole, you're kind of holding to the character.
Can we get one more alpha male stance before you go?
I think I should, yeah, absolutely. Right.
Andy Serkis is not just an actor; he's actually a problem. Which is to say that people who grew up making films before motion capture don't really know how to deal with the implications of his extraordinary talent, which raise what a lot of people would rather see as something mechanical to the level of art. I think that everyone's going to get up to speed with him soon enough, and I'm really glad that this is one of the opportunities where we take time to stop and realize that. Of course, he is a stage and film actor in his own right as well, aside from his roles as various troglodytic characters. But he is a good thing in film, and I've so enjoyed his performances in Rise of the Planet of the Apes and many other films. Virtuoso award goes to Andy Serkis.